Good evening, everybody. This is the Finance and Personnel Committee. It's 6:15 on Wednesday, May 8th. And item number one is call to order and roll call. Sean McAllister present.
Mike Milkey present.
Dan Stevens present.
Outstanding. Item number two, consideration and action on minutes from the previous meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Mike to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number three is public input limited to 3 minutes per individual. Is there anybody that wishes to address us? Second call. Third and final call. Nobody. All right. Item number four. Sabrina.
I will start that again. In your packets tonight, starting on page 1, is the general fund financials for 2024. This is as of March 31st of 2024. Starting on page 1 is the balance sheet for the general fund. If I can draw your attention to page 6, we're on to the budget report for the general fund. Year-to-date revenues are $8,109,276 of our total current budget of $11,611,451. So the percent remaining to get to our total budgeted is 30.16. Comparing that to 2023, we were at 29.67, so pretty much on par with where we were at in 2023. Then if I can draw your attention to expenditures, if you go to page, I believe it's 18, page 18 of your packets, taking a look at total expenditures through March 31st of 2024, we do have 77.88% remaining of our budgeted expenditures. As of March 31st of 2023, we were at 78.01. So again, very much on par with 2023. I will take any questions that you have on any other items in the general fund.
So the income is higher because the property tax revenues come in and our expenses are, we've got that much left because we're only a quarter of the way through the year, right?
Correct. Also in regards to revenues, through March 31st of 2023, in regards to interest income, interest rates are still looking great. We do have 224,000 for total interest income through March 31st, and I had budgeted 260,000. So we should bypass that number by the end of April, would be my guess.
Any more questions? We'll need a motion to approve.
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 general fund financials.
And place them on file.
Place them on file.
I will second that.
Motion by Mike, second by Dan to accept the 2024 general fund financials. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, Sabrina.
Thank you. Item number 5 is the 2024 Omni Center financials that start on page 19. Again, starting first with the balance sheet. Behind the balance sheet, starting on page 22, is the budget report for the Omni Center. If you take a look at page 22 at the bottom of the page, the percent remaining to get to our total budgeted revenues is 65.26%, on par with 2023. I can also note that we did get our final item in regards to tourism for room tax dollars, and I just made a journal entry just this week for $31,479.01 to the operating transfer in account. So that is GL account dash 00000 dash 49201. And that again is room tax revenue. Then if I can draw your attention to page 24 to get to budgeted expenditures. Year to date, we do have 76.22% remaining of our total budgeted expenditures. As of March 31st of 2023, we were at 69.24, so we're actually ahead of where we were at in March of 2023. Through the first quarter for the Omni, we are sitting in the black, which is good. So we are looking at a revenue at this point in time.
Move that we approve the 2024 Omni Center financials and place them on file.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Mike to approve the 2024 Omni Center financials as outlined by Sabrina. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, cemetery irrigation system main replacement.
I'm actually going to pass this to Jared.
Jared.
Thank you. Tonight I'm before you requesting irrigation system replacement in the cemetery. The current irrigation system in the cemetery is as far back as we can ascertain is from either the late 40s or very early 1950s. Galvanized line that's out there. We've had this in our 5-year capital outlay projected for a number of years, and we just keep putting it off, kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, we actually started up the system this spring and we had multiple leaks, more than normal. We always have a few. We had to replace a 130-foot section of pipe. It actually looked like a Venetian spring because it had kept have holes where it wasn't just like one hole, it was just the whole pipe had multiple holes. So in talking to Sabrina, we do have a capital improvements account, designated capital improvements account for the cemetery, has approximately $155,000 in it for capital outlay. I think this is a project that would last us, another 50 years. We'd be putting in a poly line, boring it in. If you go to your packet and go to page 30, we do have a map showing the main line. So we would replace the main line and basically the whole cemetery. This 2-inch line then has the feeders that come off for the actual spigots that you see in the cemetery. So this would be a worthy investment. It would be all the way down to Hickory Street, so it could be extended into the future phase of the cemetery that's going to be on the south side of Hickory Street. The boring cost is in there. That's the main cost is $21,500, $4,900 to buy the poly wire line, and then we're going to need some fittings and various appurtenances to get it put together. We'll be at $29,386. So this is not a budgeted item, but it has been budgeted. It's even in our 5-year outlay in the approved budget. It just wasn't a budget item for 2024.
Jared, did you say this had been in the capital improvements budget? It just hadn't been funded and then just kind of moving up the list?
It was in our 5-year for our operating budget. We showed it every year as a expense, but we just hadn't moved it into the actual that year's operating equipment replacement budget.
And then the proposal is to use a separate fund, which would actually not have it be in the capital improvement budget.
Correct. This is so when you purchase a grave in the cemetery, I'm going to get the percentages wrong here, I think, but 15% of your grave sale goes into a capital improvements account, 15% goes into perpetual care, and then the other 70% goes into operating expenses. So by selling those graves, we put the money into capital improvements. It's meant to have a fund for capital improvements in the cemetery.
Sounds like a win if we don't have to spend capital improvement money later in the fall and we can solve the problem for the next half century. So you just need a motion to approve that?
Yes.
And what was the total amount? It was 29,000.
$29,386.
All right, I'll move that we approve the cemetery irrigation system main replacement in the amount of $29,386.
$6.
$6.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Mike to approve the cemetery irrigation system main replacement in the amount of $29,386 and outlined in item number 6 in your packet. Any further discussion or questions?
I just had a quick question. So on the page 26 and page 27, I see we have First Supply and Core and Main. Have we already decided which one we're going with? Or,
Yeah, the First Supply had one of them had like
there was an 8-week lead time I saw with First. Supply,
yeah,
so I
some
was
of
just
it's even
wondering.
worse. Some of it was they didn't even know when it was gonna come. It was gonna be 6 months. So I believe we're gonna go with First Supply because they had the 8-week lead time where the other vendor was 6 months or more.
Yeah, I was just curious, like, obviously we probably want to get this done.
We'd like to get, yeah, we do have it operating right now. We have charged up the irrigation system, but we haven't, it just. It's like a fountain. You never know when you might find a new spring.
That's all I had.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Any other
Sabrina.
questions? Sabrina?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, just for clarification, this would come out of the cemetery fund. So this isn't going into equipment replacement. It's not coming out of the general fund. The cemetery fund has reserves set aside for these types of projects. So if that makes sense, that's where we would take this from.
What are other typical expenses that the cemetery fund might pay for? This would be
Salary.
right?
Salary is an expense for the cemetery. They have other repairs and maintenance costs.
Yeah, so the cemetery budget right now, the operating budget, and it's an enterprise fund. So the enterprise fund is funded mainly through grave sales right now. So a high percentage of the grave sales go into the pays for the next year's operating budget. And with that, then, so what's going to happen in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, when we eventually have no graves for sale anymore, the city will have to take on the operation of the city general fund will have to take on the operation of the city cemetery. Currently, most years we run anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to $7,000. We actually take a loss in the cemetery. Last year, we sold a lot of graves because we opened up new sections and there's been a lot of cemetery sales activity. So we've actually been coming out making money in the cemetery so that it goes into the fund reserve. And then when those years when it's lean, it takes out of it. So we try and operate it at a dead level, set level, but it just depends on the year because we can't predict how many internments and how many sales we're going to have.
Any other questions? The motion on the floor is to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 7, Amy.
Good evening. Yes, so you've got information before you this evening on an HR update. In terms of recruitment, we did not have any hires in the month of April for our regular staff. We are at 112 of our 115 regular positions filled at this moment, and a number of them that have been in the process that we've been preparing for. So we'll have a different number for you next month. We have been busy with doing other projects as well in terms of workers' compensation audits, getting ready for our annual safety testing, and then also updating our employment law posters in our facilities.
Thank you. Any questions for Amy? Nope. Thank you very much.
I remember when the list used to be really long.
It's gotten shorter. All right. Item number 8, closed session. To consider a motion to convene in closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent D of the Wisconsin statutes to consider specific applications of probation, extended supervision or parole, or considering strategy for crime detection or prevention, specifically city safety and security measures. If any action is required in open session as a result of the closed session, the council will reconvene in open session and take the necessary action and or continue on with the printed agenda.
I move that we go into closed session.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Mike to go into closed session, voting by roll call. Dan,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Sean, aye. We are now in closed session. Oh.
Now you can do
No, I want to stay here. You missed your window of opportunity.
it. Missed it.
I'm serious.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:05. Hi. I did too. I went to. One of those